part, the attorney part, and Dr. Howard, who I don't see, we just filled the HR part just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. And so we really have an HR department that's able to look at some of these things.
There's Dr. Howard.
Right on time. Dr. Howard comes to us from, she was head of HR in Hayes, which is about 20,000 students, and before that, head of HR in Judson. So she understands fast growth in both of those and has jumped in and started looking at what we're doing. And there's some problems. The numbers don't add up sometimes. What HR says we have employed and what the business office says we have employed and what team says we have employed all don't add up. And first thing we've got to do is fix that. We have people coded at central office as administrators. For instance, Marcia, most of you know Marcia, my assistant. They have her coded as an administrator, and she believes she is. But she's not. And it hurts us when we do these things with the state, because the state looks at all that, and they penalize us. So we're trying to get all that wrapped up. But that's all part of the human capital area too. So we have student success, we have customer service, human capital. In it, one of the things you'll see coming up next year is a culture survey. I want to know how you feel about what we're doing. I hope you see over the past few months, when I can, I want to get it straight from you, straight from the parents, and hear what you have to say. Now, and I've said this before, I won't always agree. I will listen, and this is another method of me sending out questions to you and going off to a third party where I'm not checking it and going back and seeing who's saying it. I just want to hear what you say. We've done the same thing with the staff advisory, and most of the time it works pretty well. I get to hear what you think. So to me, that's important. The last goal the board has is just fiscal responsibility. And that sounds real easy, but one of the goals, one of the progress monitoring for them is we're opening up Voss next year, Voss Middle School, and they're going to have all nice new furniture and all nice new technology. So what happens here? At what point do we have a schedule where these tables are replaced, your desks are replaced, your technology is replaced, your band instruments are replaced? We don't have anything like that. And I need to know, it doesn't mean I can pay for it, but it'd be nice to know that here's a 10-year plan and these things fall in line so that we can try to figure out how we don't have the haves in the new schools and the have-nots in the older schools. So we're trying to make that balance and see what we can do and have a true plan. We're also looking at energy management because the district's been really efficient with a lot of things they've done. And I don't mean just turn it off and make us sweat. That's not the answer. But we're working with a company that guarantees that we save money over the next 5 years. If not, they write us a check for the money they promised us that we didn't save. And they've never, in 37 years, they've only written 7 checks. So I feel like we win either way, but we've got to figure out other ways that we can save energy, because when we open up the 3 new schools, that's hard. The 450 new students will cost us, as I said before, about 25 teachers, but that doesn't count new principal, librarian, nurse, all those other extras. So when it's all said and done, just by opening a new school and with us growing, we need about 40 new people, and new to the payroll people. And next year, we have 2 campuses. So that's going to make it even more difficult. But the #1 priority is we need to make sure we keep the teachers we already have. and that means look at benefits and look at stipends and look at pay. So that's a big part, and that's the staffing reviews and the teams review. Like I said, people being coded incorrectly. We're also looking at special education. We just finished Region 20 coming in. And we weren't just looking at the quality of the program. That's important. And making sure that we're doing what we say we're going to do, because first of all, we owe it to the students. Second of all, I don't like lawsuits. But once again, how are we staffed in special education? And it looks scary to me sometimes, whether it's emotionally disturbed units, or life skills, or just inclusion class. How are we doing it? And what I understand, I want other people to understand, we're looking at this, but I know it can't be fixed overnight. It's going to have to take 2 or 3 years because it didn't just become what we have. It's going to take us a while to get back out. But that's why we need to keep hearing about what do you think, where can we go? And the last thing we have on this is technology. I'm in the same boat you are. I go to my computer and I'm in a hurry and I need to answer an email and I push the button and that little thing just spins and spins and spins. I've got to figure out why. That's a mystery to me. I want to know, is it the equipment? Is it the infrastructure? Is it the bandwidth coming in? So we're looking at it. Because it doesn't do us any good to keep buying more and more computers if they just keep spinning and spinning. And I remember, now it's been a few years, but when I was a teacher, we started having computers, and as soon as it started spinning and it didn't work, I just set it aside and did something else, and because it was easy, it's what I knew. And it's not easy to integrate all the different components, and that's what we need. And I don't want the frustration from your part to make it where you want to stop. The other part I need for you to help me with in technology, and I'm bad about this, that thing spins, and all I do is cuss in the air and I don't tell anybody. I need you, if you have a problem, to fill out the paperwork every single time, because what happens is at the beginning of the year, everyone gets frustrated and everybody fills out the paperwork, and then all that paperwork stops. So guess what? I'm thinking, wow, it must be working. And what it is you're just frustrated. And you think that filling out that paperwork isn't getting it done, but that's the only way we can track it, because if not, when I talk to technology, they're saying, well, the work orders are only like 3 this week. So I need you to not be frustrated. Please continue to let us know if it's not working. The students deserve that same type of, well, I won't say at my house. You turn it on, it works, because I have the same kind of problems at the house. But we need it to be where it's reliable, and when you sit there and you plan a great activity, that everything works. And it's our obligation to find out whether it is the equipment, or whether it's the provider, or whether it's our infrastructure. So I'm excited about what the next couple of years will look like. We've done some of these things, did the curriculum audit, and really remember, I told all of y'all before, it's not really curriculum, it was systems. It was all about, are we supporting the schools in their learning? And that's with transportation, that's with food service, that is finance. It is curriculum too, but it's more about a systems audit. Are we doing what we need to do? And some of those things that we've talked about, special ed, technology, pay, all spring off from that. So we've been working with those over the past 6 months. We've gotten results. We're working with the school board. And like I said before, it's not just me saying it. We have other people saying it too, so it's helping our cause. We finished District of Innovation, and we did that very quickly. District of Innovation, if you've looked into it, all District of Innovation, it's not an innovative plan. it's a way of letting us out of state law. And the easiest one to see was the calendar. And we had two choices this year. And one quick promise, you will be able to vote on calendars by Christmas this year. I don't like to wait this long, but we did it because we were trying to get that DOI exemption. If not, we would have had to choose calendar A, and that means, once again, we get out the middle of June. And some people like that, apparently, because we had, when we did the vote, and the vote was me. Every place I've been, I go year-round. It doesn't matter what calendar you give me, so I'm here. But it does matter to you, it does matter to the parents. Now, what we heard, the input we got, well, some people are cheating. The most interesting call I received, somebody called, and they said, well, they didn't call me, they called Jocelyn. And Jocelyn's our new communications director, and they said, this doesn't work. I've voted 100 times for calendar A, and it just says, well, we're smart enough where, yeah, you can vote as many times as you want, but the IP address is going to only accept it from one place. So, yes, it was nice of her to admit that she cheated, and it was nice to know what we put in place worked. But in the end, it was 75% to like 25%. But next year, hopefully, we will have multiple calendars. We didn't do anything innovative because I don't want a bunch of half-a-days here or there that all of us have to sit through professional development that's not planned. That is the worst thing to me. I have the attention span of one of your 7th graders. And to make me sit all day in unplanned professional development is not good. So before we get to that point, I want a true plan of what professional development needs to look like. And part of that to me is you don't train first-year teachers the same way you do 5th-year teachers or 20th-year teachers. I resented sitting down and hearing for the 15th time, this is what you do on the first day of school, and been there. So we need different professional development for different levels of proficiency of where we are, and respect us as professionals. So that's part of what I said I want to hold back before we jump into that. So, but that was our first experience with District of Innovation. Our next real experience is our strategic plan. Right now, if you look real hard, you might be able to find on this website, and we're changing the website because it's the worst website I've ever seen. You might be able to find something called 2020 Vision 2020. Most people can't find it. If you can find it, you may have looked at it once, but it's what's supposed to be steering us. Well, it's not, because, like I said, no one's read it. I know many people haven't read it. Many people can't find it. So what we want to do is get together, start with Vision 2020, because a lot of people did work on it, and start talking about where we want to be as a district as we grow. I don't want us just to be about, let's build these buildings. And that's kind of what we've been, because we built, or we are in the process of building three buildings. But if you ask really what's going to be inside those buildings, books, students, teachers. That's all I get. We need to know academically where we want to be and what we want to be like. And it can be just what we are now. We can be totally happy. Or do we want to do more STEM? Do we want to do more vocational? What do we want to look like? And how are we meeting all of our students' needs? And that's a discussion I want to have with you and anybody else that will come. We have an open invitation. My goal would be, when we have our first meeting on April the 12th, that we have 500 people there. And eventually we break off into groups, but in that, I want us to explore what other districts are doing that maybe are just a little bit further developed than we are. Maybe they are at Georgetown and they started off their fast growth opportunities 2 or 3 years ahead of us. So what have they done? What's a Wesleyan done? There's a lot of school districts that are Chapter 41 just like us, so what have they done? And do we want to become like that? I want to talk to the employers and to the universities, because a lot of our children, when they get to the university, it's changed since we've been in school. And it's not just about writing papers. It's about working in groups, it's about collaborating, it's about using technology in a different way. So are we really preparing them to be successful? And even the military. You know, when I was in school, all you did was sign up and you were in the Army. They're picky, and they should be. They're protecting us. So are we meeting the needs of that group also? And that's the wonderful conversation we need to have before we ever talk about a third high school. Because that's all I've heard since I've been here. When's the third high school coming? Well, just so you understand, last bond here was what, $175 million? A new high school today